From Buffalo to the big leagues, this is Maddie Tells All. Guys, I have a special guest who I just met more recently in New York City. His name is Adam Metwally, and I found out that that might not even be his name. Who are you?
I'm Adam Metwally. I am an Australian that is living in New York now. Moved, if today's date, I moved in May last year, which was May 2024.
Oh, damn. So like a year and a half?
Year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my life currently consists of music and events because that was my previous life in Australia. That is kind of a part-time thing. And then I'm focusing on building a content agency and a media company focused on my podcast that we'll get you on as well.
Yes.
And just generally helping brands with ads and good creative and conversational style content that goes viral.
I love that. And I feel like we just went to a concert. It was Russ and Big Sean. Mm-hmm. And, I was driving, you were in the front seat, and we really got to understand each other more. We've met a few times at events, but, you're just an Australian man. I just thought you were a DJ. And it was so great to meet you on a more personal level and understand what you're doing and bouncing off ideas off each other, because we talk about it all the time. Social media is a hell of a game to try to figure out. And every single day, you've had amazing special guests on your podcast, and I know that you talk about social media and where the trends are going in 2025. So talk about the guests, talk about some of the trends.
Yeah, so we've done like 120 episodes now, so
he's in it.
Yeah, so some notable social media guests would be I just released an episode with the European kid, Aris.
Yes, I listened to a little bit of that.
Pretty funny.
It's so funny.
It's basically just him roasting me for an hour straight.
And I'm like, is he lying? Is he not
lying?
We don't know. Because he's a jokester?
Yeah. He's a jokester, but he's a switched on dude. And and then there's a lot of like nuggets that I get out of content. Like I've done a lot with content creators and then entrepreneurs who have content focused stuff. And what I'm kind of looking at right now is really just the conversational content is like the most important thing I'm finding. Like people have moved away from polished to connecting because we're losing the ability to connect with one another. And
like I'm a person on the subway. I talk to everyone. People get so thrown off.
Yeah, they get thrown off.
But people don't know how to connect because as soon as those doors close, everyone just pulls out their phone.
Yeah.
Even though you don't have service half the time.
Yeah. I've noticed people will just sit there and they'll just keep refreshing the same thing. And it's not loading. And I'll look at them again.
You're like, have a conversation. So you had European Rich Kid on there. Yeah. And then who else? I know that there was some big clickbaits on there.
Yeah, if we're going, you want to explore, because I've spoken to so many people now, and the problem I've got, and I think it'll be better long term, but right now we spoke about this, it's challenging because have such a wide interest, and I came into the podcasting world just off the back of being like, I'm going to talk to people, this will be fun. Next thing you know, I'm 120 episodes in, and I'm like, I could be growing way faster, but I need a niche down, but I don't want a niche down.
The hardest. That is like my life. I get pulled in so many different aspects. I do stuff with the NFL. I do stuff with food blogging. I do stuff with creative agencies, brand strategy, social media. And I'm like, everyone's like, if you just focused on one thing, imagine the drive you'd have. But I get the phone call I just had today. I'm like, now I'm getting pulled in a different direction.
Yeah. I think this is partially an ADD thing.
Yeah.
I've noticed a lot of people that have a lot of projects are generally just have ADHD.
Yeah.
And I only realized this recently, probably 2-3 years ago, that I had it. And I went to my psychologist and we spoke about it and I did some testing. I was like, oh, okay, I've got this. So that, and then once you understand that, you understand how it like flows into the way you work and how you date and how you interact with people. So I'm now slowly unwinding that and trying to find the focus. But on the guest front, some really solid marketing people are a guy called Sabri Subi. He's one of the best known Australian ad guys. He's super well known in the advertising and marketing space. And that guy, he'd be charging 10,000 plus for an hour every time. And I just got to sit there and talk to him, which I love. I don't get it.
And how'd you guys meet?
I just emailed him.
Dang.
Yeah, I got a crazy cold email.
Okay, good. Now you're just like spewing them out. Let's talk about for the viewers who email blasting. How do you keep it organic, authentic and not a chat GPT situation like on LinkedIn. I am getting messages on messages.
Yeah.
And they're from normal life people that they must have like a VA, or they are just doing it and they're just blasting out. And I'm like, that message, I've gotten that 27 different times, different ways.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big blast out email guy. Like, I'll have a dialed in list and then a dialed in cold email that works really, really well. Do you want to go into the actual cold email that I do?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Give him a little taste.
Yeah. So basically, I stole this of a guy off a reel, and it was unbelievable. And
That's what it's there for.
It's so good. It's the subject line. This is like proper.
Okay,
proper
let's hear it. Get your
right
pen and paper.
Here. This way, it says first name of the guest.
Okay. ...
We should chat, and then what's that line with a
comma?
No, the vertical.
Oh yeah.
Line. You know the one. You know the
I'm
vertical.
the worst with
English.
English.
The vertical line.
Yeah.
And then my number.
And that's it.
And that's it.
And it works?
It works. Imagine you're just like going through your emails and you see that and you're like, what the fuck is that?
Okay, and then what did you put links or anything that shows like who you are?
Then I mean, look, anyone that does emailing and anyone that does any copywriting knows that. And if you haven't done any copywriting, it's probably one of the best skills you can develop. And there's some really, really good books on how to approach this. There's one, the Adweek copywriting handbook is amazing. The Boron letters is amazing. Ogilvy on advertising. There's like, you could Google a bunch, but there's just 3 or 4 or 5 old books that just have amazing
like even
techniques.
though it's 2025,
Doesn't
these
matter.
old books are still thriving. We love
Doesn't
that.
matter. So yeah, the idea of good copywriting is that you get them from the first piece of the first line, and all your only job after the first line is get them to the second line. And your only job after the second line is get them to the third line. And then that's it. That's all you got to be thinking about.
And so when he called you, what was the reaction?
Well, no one calls me. They just respond and they're like, yeah, I'm in. Like most of the time. And I got Chris Voss. Never Split the Difference. He's the FBI negotiator. He's been on.
Oh yeah. Well, now that I definitely know who you're talking about, I don't know if I'd be able to tell who his face is, but I know that they've talked about this man before.
He's been on Diary of the CEO. He's been on Lex Fridman.
I feel like
Huberman. He's got a masterclass.
I'm like a huge negotiator with like so many different companies, and I love negotiating. But I think it takes a true mindset of listening to both sides, understanding, staying calm, and throwing out some numbers. But in near-death situation, I don't even know was he telling crazy stories?
Crazy. Yeah. Like his whole story is wild. If you haven't read that book or like listening to his stuff, he's really good. But he's been on like the biggest podcast in the world. And just I'd never spoken to him, had no one in his contact. I pulled his email from a LinkedIn scraper. Yes. And that, which is a whole other thing. There's like it's called I think there's an app called Duck Source that I use. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but you can put this extension on your Chrome. And then you can just go into a profile, or you can go into a website. So I knew his website was like, I can't remember his website now, but it's like, I can't remember. Anyway, I knew his website of his business, so I went to the domain of his website, and then you click on this little app, and then it shows you all of the email addresses that are publicly listed associated to that domain. Yeah, I'm gonna need that information again because I'm a LinkedIn whore. Excuse my language. It is something that has set me apart as a content creator. Yeah. Coming from a smaller town, Buffalo, New York. We don't have... Shout out Buffalo. Yes. Can you tell I love it? Yeah. We don't have really PR agencies, talent agencies, anything that you're forced to be your own. Yeah. And I've helped a lot of other influencers do that because everyone was just accepting free merch and free product. Yeah. And I did that for 3 years. I said yes to everything. I went into restaurants. I did photo shoots for them, social media marketing campaigns, building out social calendars for free. It was during COVID. I was just trying to do anything I could to give back as a food blogger. And then eventually just start getting taken advantage of and how am I supposed to run a business without any numbers? Yeah. And so then I had to put my foot down and do everything like that. But having LinkedIn, people saw me as not an influencer. They saw me as a business owner. A link to influencer. Yes. Yes. I got a solid crew on there, but it's gotten me my biggest brand deals. Yeah.
where I was really able to be financially stable. But I was able to turn into my Instagram had 4,000 followers when I launched my clothing line Instagram. I sold out in 3 days, and then I've sold out, I don't know, 12, 18 times since then at 4,000 followers. It grew my market, but people just don't understand. I mean, right now you have, an influence going on. Have you been able to secure brand deals or do any big partnerships?
I'm not trying to.
Okay.
That's not my focus.
But how did you get the followers on there without even trying?
Just making content.
I love it.
Yeah, I just made reels.
Okay.
Mainly.
Was that in your DJ era?
Well, it's in all of it. It's just been like a slow progression across. So I've got a few different pillars. Well, there's a few things. The first thing is you can't feed family 4 on clout and and vibes. So you got to get paid at some point.
Yeah. But he does not have kids.
Yet. That I know of.
Yes.
Does Dad? And yeah, I'm right now. I have made good money in the events and music world in Australia that was my first part of my life. And I always was interested in content, but I never really pulled the trigger. And then moving to New York and being surrounded by the best creators in the world all the time, literally I kind of got a little bit of, it gave me this like weird permission to be like, oh, I can actually post. And like Buffalo, I'm from a small city called Geelong in Australia. There's like 200,000 people, maybe 300,000 now.
Yeah, that's our city population.
And I found that I was really stressed about what everyone had to say when I was there, and then it would really stop me from like starting to take making content a little bit more seriously. And my easiest way to approach making content to begin with was, I like to talk to people, I'll just do a podcast like that. It's kind of like I'm not trying too hard, but like I am trying. And that was my like foot in the door of going, okay, I'm going to make content and try. Unfortunately, I was about 4 years too late on the like podcasting trajectory. So now it's a grind. But I wasn't ready. I wasn't the person who could have made that work. So it is what it is, right? But the podcast was like the foot in the door. I started to post content more, and like a lot of it doesn't really hit, but every now and again something hits. And then it built up the reps. It built up the ability to look at a camera. I couldn't look at a camera. That was a skill. Looking at a camera is not something you were born with. You just learn it. You build
I don't know.
it.
I might have been born with it.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I've loved the camera since like day one. But now that I think about it, I definitely was a little shy growing up. But then it was when we had our television production in sophomore year, and that camera and the lights. We had an amazing production in high school. And I was like, yes, put me on camera. And I'm not the best reader, and I'm not the best speller or anything like that. And I'm like reading teleprompters. Yeah. But thank God you can do it at your own pace. Yeah. But that to me has always been a challenge. Yeah. And that's why I love podcasts, because it's unscripted. I know with your podcast more, you pump out questions. Yeah. Like,
that's new. That's something I've developed. So again, 120 interviews in, like I've iterated and I've changed. And I found that, again, if I had a big following already and had a lot of people that were looking at me going, I am curious about his podcast and what he has to say, maybe it'd be more unscripted. But right now I'm playing the like YouTube algorithm game. I'm playing if I'm lucky enough to get someone's click or someone's attention, then I need to dial it in because they're going to leave. Like they don't care about me. They're not interested in what I have to say. Who the fuck am I to them? So I've really honed in that process of going, all right, I'm going to give the questions to the guests beforehand, because at least it primes their thinking. Even if they don't really read them, they like think about it. Yeah. And then I'm going to have this, like I'll do my research and I'll do like 40 questions, but we really only get through 10. So as I'm flowing through the conversation, I'll go, we naturally hit on that, done. Or this is a direction I don't want to take it. This question fits what he just said then. So I'm constantly iterating, but I've got a bit of a direction, and now I'm trying really hard to make the podcast very actionable, very clear, and like problem solution.
Yeah, no, the problem solution, I mean, when I was listening to it, is exactly that. Just figuring out those questions, because right now it's 2025 and I love your take on like AI, and hear me out on my take.
Yeah.
For creators, and you're talking about storytelling, that is where it's really going to go, because you can't do an AI storytelling. You know, it's personalized, it's for yourself. Yeah. It's you talking about personal experiences. What lifestyle brand, which lifestyle is popping off because so many people are choosing to go sober or California sober. Lifestyle brands, people are putting money into it. So as a creator, I'm like, okay, that's some of the stuff I'm going to target. And then I think because now with YouTube, they are demonetizing AI.
Really?
Yes. It's a new thing.
I
So
didn't know that.
they are not pumping it. They're not doing with anything. So I think some creators are going to start going even more heavier to YouTube. YouTube eventually, you know, is going to be the new channel for everyone to go on.
Yeah.
And then Instagram and TikTok are going to have to wake up.
Yeah.
I don't see it as much on TikTok. It's more on Instagram for me. But I think they're going to wake up and then they're going to start demonetizing a lot of the AI. And it's going to go back to personal creating. And that's kind of done that. That's my theory.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense. The value driver in 2025 with AI, as you mentioned, there's all these AI or virtual assistant written DMs and content going. It's trash. You can see it a mile away. And I'm not perfect for that. I also use a VA, and I have she doesn't really like have the best grasp on the culture, so I've had to try and structure some. I mean, I have a VA too. Sometimes they put pictures of me for like my media kit, and I'm like, what is that? Yeah.
He sends me back and it's me looking the other way and it's a media kit about me. I'm like, what? But I try to suggest this to anyone, getting a VA to just take my content, spit it out on YouTube, spit it out on Instagram, answer some emails, and then how many spam emails do you get?
So many.
It's ridiculous, but some of them look real, and some of them are from big brands. So I have to ask them to send a verification from that DM to make sure that kind of stuff to me, that email chaos, I shouldn't be dealing with that. So there is a time and a place with that, but too many people are so reliant on it, and it scares me a little bit. I'm like, are people going to be able to have organic conversations in public?
Yeah.
Or are they going to be able to educate themselves? Because now that's like, screw reading, they're just going to go there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a whole thing. There's quite a lot in that. So the VA is super useful. If you don't know what a VA is, it's a virtual assistant, and you can find them. Go on Upwork, go on Fiverr. You can find someone, they're like $8 an hour. They're very basic on their skill sets. They don't understand the American culture. They know reasonable English. The good ones are maybe $20, $30. Like, you're going to be paying higher prices. But just to get the ball rolling, there's also a book called The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss.
I've heard of this one.
This book's like 15 years old, but he was talking about VAs and how to systematize your life so you can have more freedom. So that's a good book to look into. It's a bit dated, but the core premise is really solid. And then just getting them to do low, what's the word I'm looking for here? Admin heavy, easy work that bogs you down. So for mine, she takes my, when the podcast is released, she emails the guest a script that I've written and says, thank you. She pulls the links from YouTube, the socials, and goes, here's all that information. And then she'll take the trailers that are on Instagram. She'll put them up on Spotify. She'll take.
That's huge, because if you were doing that,
it's annoying. It's like a day's work.
No, 100%. People don't understand that because, in one of your podcasts, guest was saying that, like, everyone just assumes, like, influencers or whatever, right? They look at me as that back home, that I just like show up to brand content and like I'm just in the palm trees, blah, hanging out. And it's like, no, the whole time you have to be hair and makeup done, on point, scripted, editing, posting. You're not in the moment.
No,
and I will say it's been refreshing for myself because in Buffalo, I was having to go out to eat like 5 nights a week, which sounds fun, but it's prepping, posting before that, posting the whole entire time we're there. Then I'm home and I'm editing for 2 hours or the next more editing, posting, like, and then you're making sure that the restaurant's using it, because a lot of that, it's very blue collar city, and a lot of them don't understand social media. So I'm like, accept the collab. They're like, how do I accept the collab? I'm like, goodness, where am I right now? But, you know, I've always tried to help them grow to the next level. So I'm sure some of my Buffalo people would love to know, because I know that that's going to be a huge, heavy audience in the beginning here, a little bit more like of Australia and why you feel like growing up in Australia compared to then moving to America, like biggest differences. How's your health here?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I'm from a small city in Australia, but I had a huge love for cities for some reason. So, you know, the high rises, I would drive. I remember being a kid and driving over the bridge from Geelong to Melbourne, because I'm about an hour from Melbourne. And every time I see the skyline, I just feel this sense of like, what could be? But I never did anything with it. You know, I was a big fish in a small pond in my small city. I had a business, I had a couple of properties, I had a dog, I had a girlfriend for a while. And, you know, I had all these things, all my family's there. So I thought I was done. And then I came to New York for 4 days in 2022 that turned into 6 weeks. And I bought into a nightclub.
Europeans and Australians, whatever, the fact that you could just do that is crazy. What was the girlfriend at home?
No, there was no girlfriend.
Okay.
At the time.
So 4 days into 6 weeks here, who'd you meet? What happened?
I met Thatcher.
Ah.
Yeah. So Thatcher's a good friend of mine.
What a person.
Day two. Day two. Through Joe. I met Thatcher through Joe at the Cafe Froth in the city.
Okay.
And then Thatcher just like hooked me up with like really cool people, took me out, got me DJing a bunch. And then I thought, oh wow, this is fun. Like, let's stick it out. And there's 10 years of work before that gave me the freedom to turn the 4-day trip into 6 weeks, right? I was saving from 18. I lived at home until I was 23. I bought a house at 25. I didn't pay I had low cost of living. I earned like multiples of that median wage in my small city. So I just saved and saved and saved. I didn't really have a job. I worked for myself. So I was able to go, oh, you know what? In 2022, we came off the back of COVID. I've done a full summer series of events. I've made enough money for the year. I'm going to travel for a while. So I had this freedom, but also I didn't have the freedom because the year afterwards I was so distracted because I was overseas for 4 months that the business tanked. So it's a fine line.
I definitely wanted to also talk about that because
it's a fine line.
You know, that's something that when I was listening to the podcast, it was like, was it $250,000?
Yeah, across like a 12-month period.
And so
and that's all I was self-funded. That was all my own money.
So at one point you have all this money. Right.
And then it's gone.
Yeah. Like, so at one point you had all the money and then, I mean, you decided to take a chance.
You save that in 10 years. Yeah, for 10 years and you lose it in one.
You decided to take a chance on yourself, which kudos to that. You tried.
Yeah.
But what was the failure? What happened?
Well, so basically I had this event business we were like probably outside of the capital city. We were probably one of the biggest promoters in the state. And I did a lot of pop-up events similar to like taking a venue like Surf Lodge and then expanding out to the street and doing these like big summer parties. But imagine that, but across like all of the key holiday destinations in the state. Well, not in Australia, but in the state. We'd had a pretty solid like hold of the state and then we were looking to expand. That was crushing until 2020. COVID hits. The whole thing resets. Then I start losing a ton of my like partnerships. The venues just moved in different directions. And I'm scrambling going, oh shit, what am I going to do with my life here? I come out, I do 1 year. I felt the writing on the wall that all of my whole like business model was falling apart. I needed to pivot. So the only thing that made sense was if I'm not relying on venues, the whim of the venue year on year, and I'm working with the government, working with like low government land, then I can grow a bit more solidly. So I found a location that was kind of an hour from everything that I'd already done. You know, my logic was we do 10,000 tickets across the summer. Maybe I can consolidate that into 5 across one show. And then I found a couple of partners. We got this like beachside venue, and I took the brand that I'd built and put it into that. year one, we did I think we did like 3,500 tickets, which was fine.
Yeah.
But lost 120 grand.
Yeah.
And
because you had big special guests come.
Well, headline, not like crazy headliners, but big enough.
Yes.
And then costs are really high. And the festival business model a lot of the times is like you spend $500,000 building a site with talent site, and then let's say your capacity is 5,000, your break even is 4,000.
Not much wiggle room.
Not much wiggle room at all. The economics make no sense.
Yes.
It's really tough. And I was good in the like 1,000 to 2,000 capacity space. Like I knew how to book, I knew how to like promote it, but that jump, you're now playing with the big dogs. You're playing with the national touring festivals that have like the Drakes and the Kendrick
100%.
Lamar's headline. Like you aren't a small party anymore. You're on the customer decision making. You're getting piled in with the big festivals, and I couldn't compete. But I'm like, I had this aspiration my whole life of being like, I'm gonna run a big festival. I want to like do these big shows, and it's like really exciting. I want to bring like really cool acts to my like hometown, blah blah blah. And then it just went in a direction that it wasn't
serving you anymore.
Well, no, it just like went in a direction that wasn't like right. Like it didn't work. And I had a business partner for that business. He tried to do the same thing on one of his other businesses. That tanked. He goes bust. He still owes me to this day like 60 grand. So that was the first problem. So we got really close. I felt like it could be better. We could make it work. So I copped his loss on the chin, paid everyone out, used my savings, sold a bunch of shit. And I was like, what do I do now? Like we were pretty close. Maybe if I make some tweaks, I'll try again. So I gave it another go. And then the second go coincided with this year where, and unbeknownst to me, I mean, again, the writing was on the wall, but I was like, I have to make this work. I have to make it. The idea of just like copping the loss on the chin, accepting that the business wasn't going to work anymore, and walking away, which just was not in my head.
No, and that's completely fair. And it's like, oh, you're supposed to just like trust your gut instinct, but you're over there.
My gut said it was a bad idea.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But you didn't want to also let people down, because that was how people saw you. They saw you this big DJ, this event planner, and you're like, because I mean, still you had that many people show up. Was the event still a success?
Well, year one, it was great. Like it was a great event. But again, losing 120 grand.
Yeah, rough.
Like
the most I lost was $30,000 on I have a clothing line, and the manufacturer completely messed up these pair of pants that are my super high quality best-selling pants. And the nylon stitching, which nylon stitching is basically like a plastic, all was spiking through the pants. So when you put the pants on, it was scratching your back. And I'm like, if an older woman put this on, she's probably going to bleed. And yeah, I lost like $30,000 like that, and those pants still sit in a warehouse sitting there, and I'm still looking like I'm gonna collab with someone or do something, because 90% of the material is gorgeous. It's that 10% around there. But that's where I've kind of also pivoted, that I used to be so clothing heavy, but my gut's been telling me like, you haven't been able to reach your full potential because you're just like fixated on doing. I didn't go to school for that.
Yeah.
I dropped out of college.
Yeah. What did you study?
Pardon?
What did you study?
Communications. They were teaching me how to talk to people. I can talk to a brick wall.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to pivot. It sucks that your gut was telling you no.
Well, yeah, it's a whole thing.
You lose a bunch of money, but what has that set you up for?
Well, we're still figuring that out. So I don't know. I'm still in the jungle. I don't know what's next.
You're still in the jungle. The jungle is, you moved to New York, and that's half the battle.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I knew I wanted to live in New York before all this fell apart.
Oh, okay.
So this is a whole other thing. Like I said to myself in 2022, like we had a good year in 2022. The first year of losses was summer 2023. Second year of losses was summer 2024. So at the end of 2022, I was like, I want to move to New York, but I've got so... You got to be careful what you put out to the world, because you might get it, but not how you think you'll get it. And I came back from America in 2022, and I was like, I think I want to move to New York, but I've got right now I've got a business, I've got my dog, I've got my property, I've got this venue I was like looking at opening. I've got consulting roles. I've got all of this stuff. And then just like systematically over the next 18 months, everything fell apart.
So there had no other chance. You have to move here then.
Well, yeah, and then I got to the point where I'm like,
because you're just like, I don't want to be seen in my town anymore.
No, it was never nothing like that. No, it wasn't like a shame. It was just unfortunate that it went that way. There was a scenario where I could have gone, yeah, I want to do this, be super intentional with that, and go, you know what, I'm going to wind down what I've got, and let's try this. But instead I had one foot in the door here and one foot in the door here, and then it just like was such a more painful unwinding. But yeah, so I did that. First year we tanked, business partner drops. Second year I'm like, I'm going to give it one more go. And I had a bit of a mentor with one of the biggest festivals in Australia. This guy's like, really respect him, super switched on dude. And I called him like, this is what I want to do, blah, blah. And he's like, what? You know, you can just walk away. I'm like, no, I can't. And he's like, you can walk away.
He even told you to walk away.
Are you willing to lose money? And I'm like, yeah. And then it came around and the event tanked. I couldn't sell enough tickets, ended up canceling it. And I was the first event, like larger event to shut down. And then that year, 3 or 4 of like major festivals in Australia all cancelled, all fell over. Like some that were open for like
running for...
So it
didn't make you look that bad then?
Well, no, but it was just like still, I'd rather keep that money.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So yeah.
Because you booked everything.
Well, I booked everything, cancelled, had to like renegotiate like talent contracts, had all this stuff, all these people that have done work, and I'm trying to like leave it to the last minute and to see if it might tick over, and then eventually I had to make this call. And I ended up going on TV about it, and it was a whole thing.
Damn. Okay, so obviously you had the biggest financial setback ever. Yeah. And so you had to recover from that and move to New York City, one of the most expensive cities. Like, how did you, like, what was your method there?
Fuck around and find out.
Okay.
Which I'm still finding out.
Yeah, I know, because you're only a year, and like everyone's like, my sister calls me the other day. She's like, so are you gonna like stay living in New York? And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, I just didn't know if it was gonna be like a year thing. And I was like, I haven't even touched the surface.
No.
First of all, I was traveling a ton with football season.
Yeah.
Get back in March, and then the weather was shit for 2 months. And you know, when the weather's shit, no one's going outside. It's so hard to mix and mingle with people. And so now it's like 2 months in, I'm doing stuff with Syndicate, meeting people now, and the events are getting bigger and bigger. The brands are getting bigger and bigger. And I'm like, I haven't even touched the surface to where, but I love it because people are taking me so much more seriously. And I don't know if you feel that way because you were in a small city and now you're living in New York City.
Yeah.
But people in their eyes are like, oh, she made it. And I'm like, oh no, I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
You know, especially for someone that gets pulled in so many different directions. Like getting picked up at this podcast studio was incredible. And now I'm like, but it's like, my main topics, I talk a lot about hospitality. I do talk about health and wellness. I talk about football. Like I talk about Buffalo. I talk about a little bit of everything because I'm just in love with everything.
Yeah.
But health and wellness is such a journey for me.
Yeah.
So as we like close up a little bit, I know that you've been pretty, like, are you dead sober? Or do you just like not drink? Or if someone gives you like a taste of wine, you'll have a taste of wine vibe?
So I don't drink alcohol. It's been about 3 years. And that wasn't a thing. I took a month off after that 2022 trip. Yep. And I was like, I'm going to take a month. And then a month got to Christmas. Christmas got to February. February was like, after February, I traveled. And I was like, I could do, let's try a year. And I got to a year. Like, well, let's do it 2 years. And then now I'm just like, I don't know if I ever drink again.
Right. And so how do you feel like your mindset has just evolved?
I don't know. I think I've never been a big drinker anyway, and I worked so much in nightlife and events and bars.
Yeah, you weren't like crazy DJ partier?
Never.
Wow.
No. I would party, like I've dabbled over like I've explored the world.
Yes.
That's all I'll say. And yeah, I just, it never controlled me too much. So, and I felt confident in social settings sober. So it wasn't a really difficult move away. Like, you know, I'll smoke a little bit of weed here and there, but that's
California sober.
Yeah, I'd say, you know, once a year I'll do some mushrooms to like reset and contemplate life.
We love the mushrooms.
But that's about it. Yeah,
maybe have a little cry about the most random things.
Big cry. Yeah.
You're like, what
See
is
Jesus.
going on? You're like, what is happening? But and then you're maybe a little tired the next day, but sometimes you just need to just like escape a little bit.
A little hard reset.
I was like sober for 2 years because I had such bad health problems. I
right.
had SIBO, which, you know, small intestine bacterial overgrowth, and it ended up tearing my whole entire abdominal wall, which sucks because no matter how great and how good shape I am in, I'm so always just not comfortable with like my stomach because I tore the muscles what pregnant women tear. So I just never am going to have that like cinched little waist, you know, unless I want to get surgery, which you don't get surgery until after you have children. It's something you get, you know, in your 40s or something like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just like, but health and wellness and finding the new trends, I'm always trying to help people. I'm a big sea moss believer. I take oregano and black seed, and I have amazing probiotics that I take. What do you take?
Depends on the day. Right now, I've actually had a bit.
You gotta stay consistent.
Well, it depends on what the focus is.
Okay.
Right now, if we're talking about today, I've got. I think it might have been classic Chinatown apartment, but I think I got some mold toxicity.
Oh.
Yeah. So I flagged. I had a feeling. Once a year, I do blood tests. But once or twice a year, I'll do like extensive blood tests. And I went back to Australia over Christmas. And did a blood test, like big blood test, did a gut test, and did a mold test because I had a feeling that maybe I'd been exposed to some mold.
That's crazy.
I wasn't feeling unwell, but I just had a feeling. Comes back positive for a bunch of different molds, and mold's like a painful thing to get rid of. So I put it off for a few months, and I've just started doing like a mold detoxing protocol. So I'm doing a lot of binders. I'm doing a lot of gut repair, like prebiotics, probiotics, postbiotics, fiber, like that sort of stuff. And then
sometimes you just gotta shit it out.
Well, yeah, you got to bind it. So you got to kill them, and then you got to bind it into your body, and then you got to get rid of it. And
that's like a heavy metal detox.
It's literally for mold, similar concept. So right now that's what I'm focusing on. But aside from that, in the mornings, I'll do a huge big glass of water with lemon and salt. That's a good start.
Oh yeah. That is like, okay, what kind of salt? Not just a regular salt. What do you use?
Sea salt.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you use a brand?
Yeah, there's a green and white tub.
Okay.
You'll find it in Whole Foods.
Okay.
It's like a plastic tub because this is a whole other thing, microplastics.
Yes.
I saw that a lot of the salts have a ton of microplastics. Yeah. It's like Malvin, or I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, that's the one I'm using. Mm-hmm. Apparently, that's got one of the lower levels of microplastics you can find in Whole Foods. And yeah, so I'll do that, and then I'll take, if I'm not doing the gut, so the mold and gut protocol, I'll have like 10 grams of creatine. I'll have 20 grams of collagen. And then sometimes I'll take methylene blue, which is really, really interesting. So look into that. It's a really high potency antioxidant. Mm-hmm. And I found that it cleared my brain up. It like gave me some focus. So I'll cycle on and off from that. Fish oil.
Yeah.
But like a high quality fish oil that...
I mean, I eat sushi like 4 times a week.
I don't like
the
sushi.
Same. Oh,
I love sushi.
Yes.
But I don't like it for that because it's high in mercury. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to find fish that is actually...
Not farmed.
Not farmed, high in mercury. So I've started to steer away from that. The fish oil, high quality, high dose fish oil, really good for the brain, really good for inflammation. And then vitamin D3K2, I'll take this liposomal. Liposomal means it's like mixed with fat, so it goes into your bloodstream easier than taking a pill, because a lot of the pills just like your body just excretes it.
Yeah.
So anytime you can find, anytime you're taking supplements, try and take them in the liposomal form. It's a liquid, and it has much better absorption. So I'll take that, and I'll take vitamin C.
Yeah,
like
get you
1,000
going.
milligrams of vitamin C. Try and do that once a day. And then that's kind of off the top of my head, that's kind of the basics.
Just a few.
Yeah. And lately I'm also taking right now, liver capsules.
Okay. You're really, I mean, cleansing it, even though your liver's probably like thriving right now.
I don't know.
I will notice, like, I do a lot of like 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off. Absolutely no alcohol for 3 weeks. 3 weeks of just however my life is, which is like
sending it.
Yeah, just no, not even. It's like once a week, but I hardly send. I feel like if you put my calendar year, there's 3 times I get randomly white girl wasted, and it's the one was like last year when I think it was like we had 7 feet of snow, and it's crazy because
in Buffalo?
7 feet of snow happened twice in one winter. Ridiculous. It's been happening every winter for the last like 2 or 3 years now. But my side of the street on Richmond had 7 feet of snow. My neighbors had grass on their front lawn because it was a hurricane wind snowstorm.
That's crazy.
So some streets, so if you went down Elmwood, our main strip, one side of the block all had 7 feet of snow. The other side of the bars had no snow. So those bars were open, and then we'd go over there and help shovel for the other people. But everything was closed. People were just skiing,
That's so funny.
and everyone has snowmobiles and stuff and 4-wheelers there, and people are cross-country skiers. People are snowboarding down the streets.
So fun.
And I go to the one bar, and they were just like, "This is the menu. We're off. Like, we don't have anything. Basically, we have soups, we have French fries, whatever." And it's at 40 Thieves, and I start running into just all of my friends. And then it just was, and we went bar hopping to all the bars that were open. And it was just out of a movie. You have 7 feet of snow. Everything's closed. I love it. So have you ever heard about the Buffalo Bills before? And have you had true buffalo wings?
I know the Buffalo Bills exist.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you much about them. And buffalo wings, I've had many buffalo wings over my time, but now that I think about it, I never actually associated buffalo with the buffalo wings. I just thought it was a sauce.
The girl. In Australia, you probably have.
We've had buffalo wings from like the sports bar, the American style sports bar that I actually worked at in my hometown. That I got fired from. but yeah, I'm a big fan of like the hot buffalo wings. Are you
a drums or flats? He knows about the blue cheese brownie points.
Yeah, the blue cheese sauce.
Everyone around, they give ranch, and it's like, but I do understand in other cities, ranch is like this thicker, amazing sauce, but blue cheese with fresh, crumbly blue and
why wouldn't you want that? And then there's like the celery sticks. Yeah.
Okay, they did okay at your bar then. Yeah, they did well.
But I was kind of crazy, and I'm a big fan of sour cream, so I would get sour cream as well.
And dip the chicken wing in there?
Yeah.
If there's some crumbly blue in there, like, I wouldn't be against that. That sounds fire.
Yeah, that's good. I would say I'm a wing, like not the drumsticks.
What do you like, the nuggets? You like the boneless wing? Oh, yeah, that's called a flat.
The flat, yeah. I'm a more flat guy because, and this is my party trick, I can take the whole thing in one bite, like fully cleaned.
Yeah, they do that back home all the time.
Well,
I'm not
from back home, right? I'm exotic, right?
I'm going to get you Australian man eats a flat in 1 second. Yeah. That might get clickbait there. Yeah,
I can do that. Okay. Come back, go with some wings.
Yeah. No, there's some good places that do some buffalo wings.
You should go for some wings. I haven't had any good here, so.
It's honestly, it's crazy. I feel like we were just talking about, you just was the other day, we're like, I put on some LBs. I'm like, I actually lost some strictly because of how much I'm walking here.
Yeah.
And I'm also not eating. I mean, I ate pizza and wings once a week, twice a week in Buffalo. My parents are obsessed with this pizzeria I grew up with in South Buffalo called Imperial Pizza. When you go to Chris and Sue's house, they are always getting Imperial Pizza and wings every time we're there. And then you're just around it so much. You go to the bar, you have a beer, like,
yeah,
wings are delicious. And then during football season, don't get me started. You're just eating chicken wings every single day. But we'll get you some buffalo wings.
Please, let's
do that. As we close out, tell everyone, you have your podcast, a lot of health and wellness, and a ton of just amazing, successful entrepreneurs, AI specialists, like you name it.
Yeah.
So give them a little wrap up.
Yeah, sure. So the podcast is my creative outlet right now. It's called That One Time with Adam Metwally. We're about 120 episodes in, weekly episodes. Yeah, definitely not only. It's been a slog. And the ideal person to listen to this is somebody who's an entrepreneur, maybe has like aspirations in their career. So they're curious about business, marketing, business mindset, but are also holistic in the way they want to approach their life. Like they want a good family. They want to be healthy. They don't want to just like work and die. So I try and structure the podcast and the guests under that framework of, would this be interesting for somebody who is aspiring in their career, but also focusing at the same time on their mental and physical health. So the guests are quite wide ranging, but they will all be, every guest will be in some way useful to that persona.
Yes.
And you can find it on YouTube, on Spotify, anywhere you get podcasts. Subscribe, leave us a comment if you hear this, and you actually listen to an episode from this. I'd be really curious to see your thoughts.
Sure.
So that's
he's an Australian man, and he's tall. There's not many tall guys in Buffalo, okay? The clickbait should be going. And I think he's single, so we'll put that in there too.
I love that. And then on the other side, what I'm focusing on until the podcast in an ideal world, the podcast is my like full-time job that I'm 100% focused on. But in the meantime, I got to supplement my art with some hustle. So I've got a creative agency. We focus on ads for e-commerce brands that are looking to scale, doing very, very specific like conversational ads, like podcast clips, street interviews, facing camera, like really high-end, high quality, but very conversational ads. And then I'm doing a little bit in the multicam DJ space. So again, you take like a long form DJ set, you make clips. Again, I'm interviewing DJs, and then podcast. If someone needs a podcast edited, we're doing that sort of stuff. So that's kind of the main focus, but very conversational.
We love that. And this man is throwing a party at this place called Other Ship
can't wait.
On a Wednesday night with a DJ. Is the DJ going to be in the sauna?
The DJ will be in the tea room outside.
The tea room, okay. And then we're going to be like sauna and DJing. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm always looking for on weeknights. I'm pretty good about not drinking on weekdays, and I'm always trying to find connections with people.
Yeah.
And that's why I love the special guest that you had on there. And that's what he was just talking about. I mean, he has dating. That's like cold plunging questions. Like, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And he says it's a great success because I think him and his wife met, and that was like one of their first dates. So he's always interviewing amazing people, guys. Go follow him. Drop the Instagram handle.
Yeah, it's at Metwally. So MEETWALLY.
Guys, go meet him. Cheers.
That's the idea. Cheers.
And cheers to health and wellness.
Yes. And wings.
Yes. From small town roots to the big city hustle, remember your past doesn't define you. Your passion does. If something hits home today, share it, tag me, even write in. Be a part of this community. This isn't just my mic, it's ours. Check the episode description below for all the links. Until next time, keep building your empire your way.